All right, our second quarter project is a system of equations project. So you've got the paper in front of you, and we're going to go over the front and we're going to go over the back. I'm going to let you ask questions, make sure you understand exactly what is required of you. Now, I've already told you to put your name in the top left, put your student number in the top right. That way, if you drop this, I know who to return it to. Okay, the project is due on. This is the next blank that you need to fill in. If you look over here on the wall on the calendar, you can see down there on the 28th, it says project due. So November 28th, 2018 is the due date that you need to fill in. That is 3 weeks from today. So it is, today's the 7th, it's due in 1, 2, 3 weeks. So there will be no excuses come project due date on why you didn't get it done. You will have had 3 weeks to complete it. Okay? That is the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. The Wednesday after Thanksgiving. Now, I choose option, and this is where you're going to fill in the blank eventually. There are 3 options, okay? Just like our last project, you get to pick the project that you want to do, okay? So let's look at the different options. Option number 1 is a poster. Create a poster to explain a system of equations. Poster should be neat and include 2 equations. Well, that should make sense because every section we've covered so far had a system of equations. How many equations were in the actual system? 2. So you're creating 2 equations. You're then going to write a story explaining your system of equations, and the story should describe what the variables represent. So guys, you are writing a word problem. We've done a word problem in every lesson. Okay? You are creating your very own word problem. A graph, the next thing you have to have is a graph showing both equations with axes numbered and labeled. So you're going to take those 2 equations, you're going to graph them on a piece of graph paper. Then you have to have an explanation of the solution to your system. So remember the one we did in class the other day where we were trying to figure out how many math problems we had for homework and how many science problems. Okay? We couldn't put our final answer as just the ordered pair 6, 12. That doesn't explain it. But how did we explain it? We knew that there were 6 math problems and there were 12 science problems. So your solution can't just be an ordered pair. It has to be an explanation of what it means to your problem. Okay? And then lastly, the poster can be a half poster or a standard poster size, but not a piece of paper. Items may be printed and glued onto the poster or hand-drawn and handwritten. So totally up to you. Okay? How neat you want to be. If you're a really great drawer and a great writer, then feel free to handwrite it. But if you know you're not, then I would type up, print up, and then glue. Now, here's one thing I want you to be sure you notice. Include a picture of your poster to keep in the project folder. Now, you're actually turning the poster in, but I can't put a poster into a project folder, right? It's too big. So I want you to take a picture of it. You can either take a picture, print it off your computer. You can send it to Walgreens and print an actual picture. Whatever you got to do, it doesn't matter to me as long as I have basically your poster in miniature size, all right? Because I want to keep a copy of it in your project folder. But please, listen, do not turn in a picture to me and leave your poster at home. Do you understand? I want the actual poster, but then I want a picture of it to keep in your project folder. Okay, are there any questions about the poster option? All right, here's the second option, an electronic presentation. Create a PowerPoint or a video presentation of a system of equations, and it should include. Now look, 2 equations, a story explaining your system. The story should describe what the variables represent. A graph showing both equations with axes numbered and labeled, explanation of the solution. So the concept is the same, it's how you're presenting it. If you don't want to do a poster, then you can do a PowerPoint or a video presentation. This is your chance to get creative, especially those of you who are really good at computer stuff. Okay? You're doing the same thing. You're creating a word problem and a system of equations, but it's the way you're going to present it. Now, the presentation should be emailed and submitted to. I want everybody to fill this in, even if you don't think you're going to do option 2, because if you change your mind, I don't want to have to go back and give you this. So my email address, you're going to send this to ajohnson@tbc.edu. All right, so if you decide to do a PowerPoint or a video presentation, then you're going to send it to ajohnson@tvc.edu. All right. Any questions on the electronic presentation? Great. That brings us to option 3, the folder. All right. The folder. Create a report folder of a system of equations. Now look, it includes all the same things. 2 equations, a story explaining your system, the story describing what the variables represent, a graph, and then an explanation of the solution. The presentation is different. All contents should be typed, printed, and placed inside a folder. Now you all will get your project folders back. So those of you doing the folder option, I have your folder and I'll give it to you later. Okay, I'm not giving it to you now because you'll lose it in the next 3 weeks. But folder presentation, everything is printed, typed up. Okay, the graph may be hand drawn. So you may get a piece of graph paper and hand draw your graph if you would like to. All right, to me, folder, not a difficult one, kind of basic, kind of boring, but by all means, if that's the one you want to do, go for it. All right, now here's the key to all of this right here. I want everybody to know, it's on your paper. You must create your own story and system. Do not turn in the same project as someone else. Do not copy an example from the book or the internet. If I can take your story problem and type it into Google and there's a link that comes up with it, you have just done what?
Plagiarized.
Which is cheating. You have plagiarized, which is cheating. So don't do it. Okay, this is your opportunity. I wouldn't give you a test grade for somebody else's story problem. You are supposed to be getting creative. You are supposed to be creating your own story problem. So, also, I may have 105 students, but I can very quickly tell if I'm reading the same thing I've already read. All right? So don't copy from somebody else, and don't get a problem out of the book. Now, if you want to use the book problems as a guide, okay, to give you some ideas, great, but do not copy a problem out of the book. All right? Any questions about the folder option? Let me ask that. All right, now flip it on the back. On the back, we have our frequently asked questions. Some of these are going to look very familiar. I took them from the first project and moved them onto this one. How many options do I have to do? You have to do 1 option, okay? Will my work be graded on neatness and organization? You must provide neat and organized graphs, explain steps, etc. Unorganized, hard to read work will not be graded, just like last time. Will my stories be graded on proper grammar and spelling? Your work must include complete sentences and correct spelling. What will I turn in the BRADS of my project folder? You will turn in the instruction sheet with filled in blanks along with your project. So this pink paper that you have right here, I've already put holes in it. Okay, this is your grade sheet. This is where I'm going to look for the criteria, make sure you've done what you were supposed to. So this pink paper you don't want to lose because you got to turn it in with the project. All right? Will my grade improve the more creative I am? Be creative. The more creative you are, the higher your marks. Okay? The higher your marks. So, advanced, if you look at the rubric at the bottom, well, we'll get to that. How will I know what you are basing my grade on? Use the provided rubric to make sure the work you are turning in will get you a grade that you believe your effort is worth. So you can see at the bottom of the front page, there's a rubric again, a check plus, a check minus, or an I. Understand, within those, there are opportunities to lose points or gain points. So you include all 5 requirements, that's a check plus, but if it's not neat or you've misspelled something, so there's always points that you can still lose. But if you want to get the closest to 100, that's your rubric to follow. Okay? Will you help me? Please do not wait until the last minute to ask questions. It's always a good idea to ask questions before you or as you go along, so that if you're doing something wrong, it can be corrected before you turn it in. Hopefully some of you learned from this last time. All right, will the project be done in class or out of class? We will have a few days in class to work on the project, but please plan on a majority of the work being done outside of class. And will this count as a homework, quiz, or test grade? This counts as a test grade. Okay, are there any questions? Nate?
Is there a certain type of poster they need to use?
Is there a certain type of poster? Are you talking about a color? A certain color? Because it has to be a standard poster. If you go to Walmart or Target, they sell for like 59 cents a standard size poster. And then you can cut it in half if you want. I don't care what color. If you choose a black poster though, don't write in pencil because I won't be able to read it. So I don't care what color poster. It doesn't matter to me, if that's your question. Does that's what you were asking.
I was talking about, 'cause, like, this is like, can we use like the folder that has like 2 flaps?
Like the science fair project.
I'm talking about like the trifold.
Yeah, I know. It's the trifold, like the science fair project. I mean, if you want to, if you can fill that up with information. Actually, let's say no to that. I don't need you. You don't have enough information to fill up that whole poster, and I don't want you to turn in something that doesn't look. If you turn in a trifold poster and you barely have anything on it, it's not going to look good. Okay, so no, a poster board, regular poster board. Hey, anybody else? This is a great question. Anybody else? All right. Again, when is this due? November 28th. Put that somewhere safe. For now, I would keep it in your test and quiz folder. Like I said, I'm not giving you your project folder back yet because you will lose it in the next 3 weeks. So put that paper somewhere safe so you have it when you need to work on it.